Hi guys, this is Sam Wall signing in again on behalf of SAP Careers and Jobs Group. Today I'd like to talk about who can actually get into the SAP field and make a career here. It's kind of a myth that many times people think it's just you got to have a lot of technical background to get into SAP. People think you got to have a strong computer science background. You need to be from an engineering degree, and sometimes you even think you need to be from a programming side in order to get into SAP. Now that might be true, but let me debunk the myth. Most of the jobs in SAP are in the functional areas. So that means if you have basic computer skills and let's say you know Windows well, you can navigate the systems, you have the creativity, and if you are from a business background, and I don't mean you need to be from a management side, if you have worked on the process, whether it's a shop floor, whether it's a project construction project, whether it's production shop floor, or whether it's a warehouse or even a sales retail store, there is a place for you in SAP world. What happens when you get into SAP is typically your salary from a normal functional area will 3x. That means if you're getting like $40,000 in a retail store, and if you get into sales and distribution areas, which is configuration side of SAP, which purely a functional consultant is expected to do, you would possibly make close to $120,000. The average salary being between 90,000 to 140,000 for a typical consultant. The other question is that most people raise is, do I need experience of having projects in SAP? Now that might be true, but some jobs like SAP Consultant are typically jobs where you don't have a trainee role, essentially. So what you do is, just like a doctor or a pilot, you would job shadow and you will have simulation of various scenarios and real life projects. And that is counted as an experience because just like the doctor, he operates the first time. He never is supposed to say that is his first surgery, because he would have assisted other doctors in the other surgeries, and he would basically say, I have 3 or 4 surgeries if he has worked as assistant in other 3 or 4 surgeries. Similarly, if you're a pilot and you have worked on a flight simulator for, let's say, 300 hours, then you would claim that as an experience of flying for 300 hours, though it's a flight simulator. It's kind of a real life, but the first time you either operate or you fly a plane, either you're in a operation theater or you fly a plane, you cannot call yourself as a trainee because you have the controls, and sometimes the lives of the people, and in SAP case, the business, the entire cycle of the business depends on you and what you deal and how do you configure it. Now, there are 2 sides of SAP. One is configuration, which is what we call as a functional area. The other is the technical side, which is system administration and programming or customization, which we generally call as. Programming or customization is typically supposed to be minimized, but I would say at least 20% of the client's requirements are still customized specifically to what we call as best practices, which meets their personal company's requirement or their individual department's requirement. But 80% of it would be industry best practices. That means you would follow a standard operating procedure. I'll give an example. If you are in the sales and distribution, you'll start with requirement gathering, you'll ask for a request for quotation, then you will have a vendor evaluation, then you'll create what we call as a purchase requisition, and then you'll get a purchase order, which in turn you will convert into a sales order. So you have a request for quotation, you have a sales order coming in from the client. The sales order converts into a delivery order. That means somebody is told to ship the goods and deliver it. At the same time, you do what we call as a goods issue. So which is called GI, goods issue. So you have a delivery order and a goods issue. Then on confirmation of delivery, you also do a invoice issue and an invoice receipt by the client. The moment the invoice is received, then it generates account receivable payment, which is basically different payment types incoming, whether it's a full, partial, or a over and under payment or a discounted payment. It will still be a payment type. Once you settle the payment, it goes into your financial records. But this process of creating order, delivery order, goods issue, invoice, and payment is what we call as order to cash process. Similarly, in the procurement process, we would have requirement gathering, purchase acquisition, purchase order. After you do the purchase order, you will have to receive the material from the vendor. There is a 3-point check at the time of receipt, which is purchase order and invoice. Sometimes you have a four-way match, which is also quality assurance. So we have invoice, purchase order, quality assurance, and the material, the good receipt that you get matched, and then you basically go out and do an outbound payment. So essentially, when we talk about this process, it's basically a sequence of transactions. It's basically a sequence with a meaningful end result. That means the sequence is logical. They follow a pattern which is logical. For example, you cannot have a delivery before a purchase order. You cannot make a payment without creating a sales order or purchase order. It does not make sense. So it's a sequence of events having a meaningful output and a business objective, which is called a process. So as long as you're good with the process side and you know how to navigate the system, which we call as mostly mouse clicks, which comprise of radio buttons, check boxes, drop downs, and then submit and save functionality. But since SAP has a maze of them, so we look at it like a puzzle. So if you are expert in the process, you are a good fit for being a functional consultant, because 99 times out of 100, you have to know where you want to go and click and do the system setting rather than the technical side of it. So as we say in SAP, if you get $100 an hour, 99 is paid for knowing where to click, and just $1 is paid for the actual click itself. Just like in a doctor's case, they would look at symptoms, they would look at a lot of other tests and observations before they go out and do the operation. The operation might be just cutting a nerve, which basically takes like 30 seconds, but you might have 6 months before and after. Now you paid not just for that particular cut, but you pay for the entire journey. So similar in SAP, we have something called a requirement gathering. We do a lot of documentation. We look at all the effects that it might have to the business. And then the configuration piece is basically 1/3 of the overall process. Now, having said that, if you are from a functional side, that means if you are in sales, if you are in materials or warehouse management, if you are in procurement, right? Then if you are in human resource side, you are in the projects or oil and gas or real estate side. If you are in the supply chain management side, you are in the production planning or shop floor side, or you are doing basically time management, payroll, any of those functions. So I would say 80 out of 100 people, if you identified, and out of these 100 people, if 80% of them are what we call as white collar jobs, that means they deal with business side of things. What I mean is, like, if you're a construction worker and you're building a house, then SAP is not the right fit for you. However, if you work in the warehouse and you know the process of how to move the material from one location to the other, and you know the transport management and how the goods move from the supply network from one location to the other, then you might be a good fit. So essentially, it's not a technical role. That's the bottom line. If you are from any of those business area, then we would be able to transition you and get you up to speed in terms of being a successful SAP consultant. And what happens in the journey is typically we have what we call as the honeymoon period. So first 3 to 6 months, you go through a lot of stress because you get into unknown area. Just like when you're a new immigrant, you come to a country, you don't know where to settle down, how to find a job, and then get your roots in place. So similarly in SAP, it takes 3 to 6 months for you to get into the flow. But the lack of knowledge is compensated after 6 months through your experience and confidence level. And I would say the difference narrows down even if you have 5 years experience and you might have a 9 months experience. The level of knowledge difference is kind of narrowed out as you progress in your career. And maybe after 1 or 2 years, if you are creative and you're innovative, it does not matter if you have 10 years or if you have 1 or 2 years of experience. So there you go. It's for everyone, as long as you're in the business area. Now, obviously, if you are a server system administrator or you're a programmer, then there's a customization area for you. The difference between the functional and the technical roles is functional is mostly business, and mostly we specialize by the industry area. For example, we have a pharmaceutical industry, or we have retail industry, we have oil and gas industry, we have manufacturing, we have food and beverage, right? We have warehousing, we have travel, we have defense, we have public sector, so on and so forth. However, in the technical side, the process knowledge or the process side doesn't really matter so much, because you are going to write a code which carries out certain functions, and the specifications for the code are given to you by the functional consultant. And you deal with basically the tables, what we call it the table structure, or we call it a schema. Then you also do the input forms, or we call it smart forms. You make sure the data goes and stores itself in the right tables, and then it's extracted out. So you have input, store, and output functions. And if you are integrating 2 different business areas, then we make API, which is interface, and mostly we use REST interface, which is a protocol that we use. And if you are actually sending data outside, you will use XML. And if you are securing data, you will use SAML, which is SAML language, security markup language. So those would be typically the technical areas. However, with the cloud solutions, those are becoming lesser and lesser, and we are seeing more and more roles for the functional guys, and what we call as a process architecture or integration architect. So I would encourage all of you to either email us at info@sapsol.com or job@sapsol.com, or visit us at www.sapsol.com and call our account managers, or what we call as placement consultants, to guide and coach you through your journey to SAP and get yourself to that next level, which is 3x your current salary. Doesn't matter which functional area you are in. I would say 80% of you would be eligible for it. And it's getting easier and easier with the graphical interface that SAP has developed in the cloud. So we welcome one and all to make a career and be a success. And we look forward to have more of you watching these videos. I've just started this channel, so I would like and invite you to like and subscribe to this channel, so we can help individuals such as yourself get to the next level in their career and become financially independent. Thank you, guys.